first of all with our eyes, and we're going to identify units that are square in the room. Okay? So where do we see any squares in the room? Tell me.
Your desk.
Raise your hand. Eloise.
The tile?
The tile.
Can you do rectangles too?
Nope, just squares.
Desks.
Desks. Okay. Well, you can do, okay, you could measure that. I'll let you measure that. What do you have? Julia. The what?
The thing with the trees on it.
Okay, that looks more like a rectangle to me, right?
No.
I think it's a
Yeah.
little taller than
What
it
about
is wide.
Melissa?
The tops of our copies and the big cubes.
Okay.
And the bottom.
What do you have?
The cubes over there and the pot that the trees in.
Oh, that's a square? Oh, awesome. Okay. What do you have, Marie?
That picture that says before you were born, I set you apart.
It looks like a square or rectangle. Okay, so it's okay. We've identified squares and rectangles. I'm going to give each group something to measure, okay? You're going to go around the room and you're going to measure the amount of units. And I want you to do inches, okay? So what are you going to do to find out how many units there are in inches? You're going to measure.
No. Tell him no.
Okay, listen up, guys. You are going to measure.
Henry, stop doing
Remember
that.
we talked about yesterday?
Set it on your desk,
How
please.
long it is, which would be what?
Drawing. I just do it for fun. Length?
Right.
That's a drawing.
We're going to measure the length
It says it by itself.
and how wide. Thank you.
That's width.
And that would be Marie width. Okay? And we are going to measure in, what unit are we going to measure in? Square units. And using our rulers, what measurement are we going to use?
Ben, stop
What's on
hitting
your
yourself
rulers?
like that, or I will take it.
Inches.
I will take it if you
So
don't
we're
stop
going to
hitting yourself
measure
with
in inches. We're going to measure the length and the width in inches. Well, we'll do that later. Okay?
Made in China.
Okay. All right, so Eloise and Melissa, I want you guys to measure the area of that turquoise bookshelf. Okay? The bottom one, where all the books are laid. Okay? I'm going to give you guys two because you're a bigger group. I want you to measure the area of one of the rectangle cubbies. Okay? In inches. So you're going to have to do length and width. So how about Brady and Elizabeth, you do that. Nolan and Marie, I want you to measure
Chalkboard?
how about this board? This board over here. Just be careful of the decorations, okay? You three, I want you guys to measure the bottom of that blue crate. Yes. And then I want you to measure the top of the blue crate and tell me if there's a difference. I want you guys to measure a desk and the tile on the floor. Okay? Okay, remember you got to do the board itself. So you start at one end and you measure all the way to the other end, remember? In inches. So you're probably going to have to help each other. You're going to have to work together.
Well, each out is stop.
Does somebody have a pencil to write it down?
Did you write down what you found? Right. Write it down somewhere.
You guys have to write it down, huh? Okay, how you doing there?
Good. It's 16 and a half.
Good. Good.
And here, go like this. Put your finger back. So how many inches is that, Brady? Yeah. Is it upside down? Oh, good. That might be easier. 4? No, 4? Okay. So can you guys write that down?
4 inches.
You have
Right, a big 1, 6.
rulers full, and then 4.
Wait.
So what's 12 plus
What did you
6?
try to write?
25 and a half.
So you write a big 6 and then 1
So why
over.
don't you go write that down on his paper? I don't know if that's your paper, but
24 inches.
just write it on there. And then you're going to have to measure what? That's the length.
Oh, so you're like adding them all up?
Equals 28.
Okay, so you do 24 plus 6
How, what's the width?
because you had 6 full inches.
Wide something is, right? So go ahead. Awesome. Is there a difference?
Yeah.
From the top, is this the bottom or the top?
That's the top.
Okay, now measure the bottom.
And then you write
Where?
and that tells you 30 and up.
17 and a half on this one. 18 I am.
Well, that's crazy.
And I got 19 for that. Yeah, so did I. And then I went back.
Jeanette, did you make sure your ruler was straight when you did it?
Wait, we gotta go
Because that might make it. Oh, okay.
18. It's about 18 because it's the width of your finger too. So, okay. Hey, Henry, come here.
To the bottom. Yeah, it's 6 and a half.
Okay, did you guys do, you did the top, and now you're gonna do the bottom, right? Oh, where's your numbers for the bottom?
Why are you taking your video?
That's for Mrs. Sword.
They're the same?
Right.
Yeah. They are?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Okay, it's 48. 19 and a half. Wow, can I try this? Can I try this? That's gonna be a lot. We need to add them up.
Okay, how many need more time?
Hey, we're done.
You're all done? Hey,
Don't slam rulers.
18. I did your roller.
Brady.
okay, now remember, everybody, if you're finished, go ahead and get back to your seats. It looks like a lot are playing around, so go ahead and
And
get back to
Betty,
your
when
seats.
we're done, that ruler goes in your cubby. What's 12 plus 12? We can figure that out. What's 1 plus 1?
Now, what did you guys get for your width? 11.
Actually, I don't know if I did my best.
Okay, boys and girls, have a seat. We're going to calculate our data. Yes, you guys just gathered data. So I had this group measured. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. I had this group measure their desks. So their length was what, Betty? 24? Okay. Okay, so length is 24, width is 18. Oh, 19. Okay, we're gonna go with 18. We have a little bit of a discrepancy here. But let's go with 19. So how are we gonna find the square units of what covers the entire desk now? Yeah, so 24 is your length, right?
You guys are so
24
close
is
to
your
us.
length,
24, we're at 28.
inches, and how much is your width? 18 is your width. And then we're gonna find the surface area that way, right? Because if we fill this desk with 24 rows, or 18 rows of 24 1-inch squares, how many we're gonna get? Henry. Should I do it like this?
They haven't learned.
24 inches times 18 inches.
They haven't learned.
Oh, you have
They haven't done that yet.
after that. Okay. If you multiply 2 digits by 2 digits, it's a big number, right?
Yeah.
What's 8 times 4?
I forget.
8 times 4?
40.
8. Let's skip count. 8, 16, 24, 32. Right. So we're going to put the 2 down here. We have 2 1s and 3 10s. I'm going to put a 3 in the tens column. 8 times 2 is? What's 8 times 2?
8 times 2 is 16.
Right, 16 plus 3, because we have 3 more tens.
19.
19, okay, so we have 19. Now I'm going to go to the tens column. 1 times 4 is 4.
4.
So in order to find out how many 1-inch squares would cover this desk, you would have 432 1-inch squares covering that desk, okay?
That's a lot.
And so what we would write is square inches,
Swap units.
Swap.
because they're squares and they are inches, right?
Swap.
Okay, what about, somebody else give me their dimensions.
Length is 28 inches and width is 11 inches.
So they had 28 inches long. What did you measure?
The cubbies.
The cubbies. She measured the length of the cubbies, the rectangle. And width is how much?
11.
So they're long and narrow, right? Okay, so we're going to do the same here. And if we multiplied this out, that would tell us how many 1-inch block squares are going to cover that area, okay? Since you haven't learned this yet, I'm going to move on.
Buddy, can you sit down, please?
All right, next
Buddy,
thing we're
can you
going to
sit down?
do
Thank
is, yes. Oh, yes, tell me about the cubbies.
Did you only tell us to do the bottom one?
Yes.
Okay. So the bottom part was 30.5 inches, and the sides were 16 inches.
So 30.5.
I'm going to try to keep this off myself.
So I'm going to do 30.5 as half inches, or 30 and, well, here, let me write it. 30 and 1/2 by what? What was your width?
16 inches.
16 inches, okay? So in order to find how many 1-inch squares would cover that, we would multiply. Or we could draw it out and then count each little block, okay? Okay, I'm gonna do one more thing and then you guys are off to the races.
I hate races.
Now,
Oh, races?
okay,
Races?
off to the horse races with your work.
It's okay.
Here we go. Remember yesterday when we did, you can separate units, right? Okay. We're going to pretend that these are equal, right?
We do a lot of that.
Okay, we're going to pretend that these are equal measurements. You guys are used to pretending? Okay.
We always pretend.
Henry. Henry.
That's your most.
I see you.
I'm trying to do the Colts, but for the boys,
I, you.
no, we would never do that. It's a sword. is not an IU fan.
I'm not an IU fan either.
So does Purdue.
Okay, we're not gonna get into a fight about college
No, we
sports
can't
today.
do that. Okay. So. Oh boy, this is
Hey, we all know Notre Dame is better than it.
Okay, Henry, I just said we're not going to get into an argument about this.
okay. You guys get the picture, right?
Yep.
We do one more.
It's gonna be the Colts.
What are you doing? Which one are you doing?
An axe.
Okay.
A toothbrush.
There we go.
Toothbrush.
I like that.
It does look like a toothbrush, kind of.
A toothbrush.
So. Yeah,
Okay. I do. I know. We're pretending they're equal, okay? These are square units, okay? So, Brady, I want you to come up here.
That's a ginormous toothbrush.
I want you to show me by putting dots where you would separate this into 2 units. Can you show me that? It's one big unit right now, but how can we separate it into 2 to make measuring easier?
I know.
Can you put a dotted line?
Where?
Here, you tell me. This is 2 different units, okay? How can we separate it into 2? Somebody want to help?
The 2 sheets, Brady.
You're gonna help Brady, okay?
Okay.
Don't just do it for him. Talk him through it.
Brady, there's a
Okay, we'll help him then. Show him, like, it can be 2 different units. Could we have one here and one here? Actually, we could do 3. Can we do one here and one here? How would we draw a line to separate those? Can you do that? Okay, do it. All right, now we have 1 unit over here, right? Like you just measured, and 1 unit here, okay? Got it? All right, good job. Oh, you're gonna measure it? I want somebody else to come up and show me a different way that you could measure and divide it. Eric, or Ben. Ben, Harry, all from the same family, right?
I'm gonna call him Harry.
Please don't, that's not his name.
Now show me how you can make that different, divide it into different. You can do 2 or 3 different units. Yep. There's 1. Okay, so you made it into 2. Oh, now we made it into 3. Okay, we'll pretend that's straight. Okay, I know that's a little high for you, sorry. Okay, so we have 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, okay? Can I get a volunteer? Elizabeth, come on up. Show me how you would divide this one to measure it. Okay, so she would go, listen up, eyes up here. Handle would be 1 measurement, toothbrush would be another. How about you go ahead and block it off for me and count how many. Finish the squares. Tell me how many units it is.
Thank you.
Okay, how many square units do you have? 13. How did you do it? She counted. Okay. Does anybody have a different way to do it?
Count by twos.
Count by twos. Okay, then you would have one left over, right? Okay, do it for me.
Just count by twos.
Right. Count for it. Count it. Do it.
Oh. So I just put it down. I don't know.
Okay, go ahead. Do it.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and then
13. Okay, so he skipped counting. So she counted each one. You can skip count. What else? Count by threes. Okay, right here.
3, 6, 9, 12, 13.
Okay, so you can skip back, count by three. What else can you do? We don't tip on the chair, sit in it properly, please. If we have 3 rows and 3 columns, 3 times 3, we can multiply. 3 times 3 is? 3 times 3 is what, Daniel?
3 times 3? No. 3 times 16.
3 times 3 is? Let's skip count. 3.
9. 9.
Good job. Okay, I need you guys to open up